And welcome back to Talk of the Town. I'm Sandra Benson, and I have quite an intriguing guest with us today, someone I know you'll all recognize. I have with me today Ben Franklin.
Good morning, Sandra.
Welcome.
Well, thank you very much.
Mr. Franklin, welcome. We're so happy to have you with us today.
Well, it's a pleasure to be in the Low Country.
So tell us what you're doing here.
Well, I've come around to try to promote what we've done with Independence Day.
Okay.
Because this is almost the time of year when we signed the Declaration of Independence, and one of my fellow signers, Thomas Hayward Jr., was born and raised very near this area.
Yes, he was.
And I love to come back here because on Saturday I'm going to be at the Storybook Shop in Bluffton for performances at 1, 2, and 3 o'clock in the afternoon for children 6 to 9.
6 to 9. Okay,
Yeah.
I was wondering the age group that you were looking for. Wow, okay. As far as, where is that located, the Storybook?
It's in historic
store?
Bluffton, just off Highway 46 on Calhoun Street.
Okay.
And it's very well marked, and I'm sure that there will be a good-sized crowd in downtown Bluffton this Saturday.
Will it be inside or outside?
It's going to be inside.
Okay, good, because it's awfully hot.
It's very hot for the children and for old people like me.
And for Ben Franklin,
That's
I'm
right.
certain.
So I try to do this about once a year because Miss Nancy, who runs the Storybook Shop, is a friend of mine, and she has a great enthusiasm for books.
You know, I think people sometimes steer away from how important it is for children to read. I think we don't always think about it, especially in the summer. We're so happy the kids are out of school and we don't have homework and, you know, they're playing and we're excited about that, but it's really important to keep them reading.
Well, I think we've almost taken books for granted. In my day, only the wealthy and the clergy had access to books. I loved to do two things in the summer. I loved to read and I loved to swim, but reading was not accessible to me because there were no books available to young people like myself, and now they're everywhere and they have access. And Miss Nancy at the Storybook Shop runs a wonderful little independent bookstore dedicated solely to children and children's books.
Wonderful. That's just wonderful. What pray tell will we find you doing up there on Saturday at 1, 2, and 3?
Well, I'm going to talk to the children about what it was like to be a boy in the 17th century.
Okay.
And all of the adventures and misadventures we got ourselves into, and how my inquisitive mind led me to develop my first invention when I was 10 years old. I'm not going to spill the beans right now in terms of what that invention was, but it had to do with my other love for swimming. And I'm going to talk about all the developments of my life, particularly the inventions of a musical instrument that very few people play or know about these days, but Beethoven and Mozart.
Will you have it there?
I will have a demonstration of that there.
Good. Okay, good.
And also I'll talk about the last major invention of my life, which were these things, which I call double spectacles, which I think the grandparents in your audience can probably relate to, as I think they're called bifocals now.
Bifocals now,
yeah.
Absolutely.
This was my last great invention.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think that the kids will really enjoy, and it'll be storytelling, right? You're not going to read. You'll be basically telling stories about your life, and I wonder sometimes if we know enough about our history. You know, I've been other places, and they seem to just thrive on their history, but I think sometimes we don't take it all in.
Well, and certainly South Carolina had a rich history in colonial America, and it's a pleasure for me to come down here and remind people of the rich heritage that we have in South Carolina that's related to the Revolutionary War, and it was just a very, very important. We do, and it dates far back. I know that we have a town in this area, Beaufort, I believe, that's celebrating its 300th anniversary. This year. I was 5 years old to the day that Beaufort was founded. I was born in 1706, and Buford
look
came along
amazing.
in 17. For a gentleman of my age, I'm doing pretty well, I think.
And you walked in here and you didn't come in a wheelchair. I'm so impressed.
No, I use a cane. I have terrible ailments, but I use a cane from time to time as need be.
That's terrific. So. That's terrific. So these kids can really expect a fun little afternoon. Will be little refreshments because children are always looking for a little something to eat or drink.
We have little refreshments that'll be available, and a little surprise gift for them as well. So,
is there any charge for the event?
There's no charge. They should call the Storybook Shop.
Okay.
And try to make a reservation.
So they reserve their spot.
They can reserve their spot. That's very, very important.
Do you know how many people the Storybook Shop can fit?
I think we can hold about 15 people per event.
Per sitting?
So,
okay.
Yeah. And I think some of those are already booked, so I hope people will take the time to call Miss Nancy.
Wonderful.
And
so you just come once a year?
I just come once a year.
Where else do you
around the 4th of July. I go all the way around the Low Country, and I speak to groups that are young people and old people. I've just finished an event out at Sun City for grandparents, and talked about the importance of doing something with industry, hard work that is, and frugality. As a way to wealth. I think we've lost some of the messages that I tried to teach 300 years ago about hard work and saving money, and a penny saved.
I think we don't remember all those messages from 300 years ago. I think we need some reminders.
We do. We do, in fact, need some reminders, and that's what I see as my role in speaking to groups right now.
Well, that's wonderful, and I know the children will really enjoy it, and I'm so excited that you're going to be there for them. And again, just tell us one last time. It is on Saturday the 25th.
That's correct.
1, 2, and 3 at the
Storybook Shop in historic Bluffton, just off Highway 46.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ben Franklin.
Thank you
for
much,
joining
Sandra.
us. And we will be right back with Talk of the Town.